That's it. All right.
Oh yeah, well thank you everyone for coming. Yeah, I'm not sure. We're going to blame Matt, who's not here tonight, for the date change. So we thought that was safest. So thank you everyone for making it. I know there was some people that were very disappointed that couldn't come as well. So if you see them, say to them it's not my fault. So it's Matt's fault. But cool that we could all go out running. That's really great. A huge part of running for me is to share running with other people, and you know, seeing new places, adventuring cities or trails or mountains or whatever. But that's the nice thing about running, is that you create these really nice friendships from running anywhere, whether it's on a road or not. So thank you all for coming. Thank you to Profeet, obviously, for having us here. It's a great shop. It's obviously a good place for us all to be here if we're doing any miles, because our feet take a lot of punishment, and so does the rest of our body, so it's important to get here. Thanks also to Salomon, who have had all these shoes and bags and jackets and goodies to try, and some socks. Yeah. Some socks for everyone as well. So that's cool. And feedback for the shoes that you've tried tonight is great, because the only way that they develop in the factory is by feedback from you people, because well, they're in a factory looking at computers, so they don't get to see the real thing. So feedback's always good. You can go to the website for that. And Mule Bar as well. Jimmy, thanks for coming for a run. Mule Bar is a fabulous natural energy bar that I've been using for years and years and years now. I can run 4 or 5 hours just on one bar. I don't eat a lot, but I find that it's really, really long-lasting energy, and in a 10 or 12 hour running race I can go on just bars and gels that they have, and there's a whole stash of them up the front there, so you can have a look and have a chat to Jimmy. And
they're in the bags.
And they're in the bags as well, so you get a bit of a munch on them, but highly recommended. I had a chat with a guy who works with a professional French cycling team last week when I was in Annecy. He's a physio for a team, and we were talking about about nutrition and about taking on things like energy bars versus sandwiches. And we were talking about how, you know, obviously taking a sandwich in the back pocket of your running shorts is not that efficient, whereas a bar is good. And there are so many on the shelves these days, so it's so hard to choose. But we were saying that, you know, his wife had said to him when he was going out for a bike ride and he was stuffing his shorts with gels and chemicals and all sorts of things, and she said, "What do you think I would rather? Do you think I would rather a really big orgasm, or do you think I'd rather just fake it and then want more later?" And he was like, "That's great, I'm going for the orgasm." And he took the big sandwich. So it's something that I think is a brilliant thing to think about. Do you want the big orgasm, or do you want to fake it and want more and more and more and more? So, you know, that's something that I think with Mule Bars, for me, they're that big orgasm that you can just get in when you're doing this bit still left in your teeth. So thanks for that, Jimmy. It keeps me going on the trails. And one other thing I'll say before I just open it up for questions is I would love to write you a book and give it all to you tonight and say, this is what you should do, and go forth and be well and run fast and go strong. But something that I've learned is that no one can write a book. They can, and you can read it, and you can try it, and you can either be good at it or it can really ruin you. But you're going to have to write your own books. Every single one of you. You can ask for advice. You can read this. You can read that. But you're going to have to try it. You're going to have to take that advice. You're going to have to try it. And if you do decide to go with high mileage and it doesn't work, you're going to have to try something else. I was saying to some people earlier, you know, even at the level where I am, we all train differently. There's people like the Max Kings from the United States who does a maximum of 2 hours a day. It's hard, fast running on the flat, on a road, around a track. And he's coming out and whipping through some pretty good ultra running distances and breaking records. Then you've got like the Tony Kopitschkas that go like a snail for 12 hours a day, you know, so...
You say that to his face?
I'd say it to his back, because his snail is pretty fast. But, you know, on that level, he's... So, even at the top, they're training differently, but they're racing together, so... you're going to have to find what your orgasm is, you're going to have to find what your distance is, you're going to have to find what shoes your shoes are, because just because the books say that Born to Run and all those people in the tribes wear bare feet, we're not from the tribes. I don't feel like I'm from any tribe, and I've always worn shoes. So I'm not about to go and start running outside in my bare feet because I think, oh, I did come from a tribe like thousands of years ago, so surely I can run in my bare feet. So you're going to have to find what works, and it doesn't always work. One race your feet might want 4 mil drop, some race your feet might want a 12. So it's really a trial and error. It's a ever building project that you're going to have to work on, because it always changes and it's always different. So your book is going to be long, and it's going to have some really cool pages, and it's going to have some really sucky pages, but that's all part of that story of your running. So you can write it and you can enjoy it and hate it as much as you want, and that's part of your running. So share all those things with each other, because it helps to learn from each other's mistakes, and then go forth with your own project there. So I can help wherever I can. You can all help each other, but yeah, you good luck for you all on your project, because it's an exciting adventure to go on. So, are there any questions that I might be able to help you with, or about anything? Yeah.
So I like the idea of learning from your mistakes, but more importantly, learning from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
So, is there any big mistake that you've ever made that you can share with us that might stop us from making mistakes?
I make mistakes all the time, big mistakes. I think, I mean, food can be a mistake. You find that out only after you eat it. Sometimes I can't stomach chocolate and I want to vomit everything up when I'm racing. When I first started doing ultra running, I was speaking with Jeff Rose, and I said to him, well, when's when I feel sick? And he's like, well, you feel sick. And I was like, yeah, but I don't want to feel sick. And he's like, well, you just vomit then and get it all out of your stomach and start again. And I'm like, that's horrible. And he's like, I didn't say that ultra running was pretty. And I was like, okay, all right, so be sick. So yeah, I've been sick. I've trained too hard. I've pushed too much. I've done too many races. But the problem about that is that I've always been going into the unknown. I'm always intrigued about what's out there. And the only way to go and have a look is to step that little bit beyond. And you don't know how close you are to the edge or how far over you are to that edge. And because I'm the person I am, I like to step over. And sometimes I step that little bit too far and get injured, or my immunity system says I don't like that and decides to turn off. Or so it's a fine line. It's something you need to write in your own book. It's good to look back at diaries and say, this is what I did before that race. Maybe I could try doing a little bit more, like a 5% increase, for example. But if you're happy where you are, you're not injured, everything's great, you don't feel like going up to 100 miles from doing your 50 miles, then that's fine. For me, I'm always looking to go somewhere new, and so that's why I end up being often in a rut, because I fall off the other side. Yeah.
If you had one more race in you, which one would it be?
No idea. Well, at the moment, I guess for me it's Hard Rock. Hard Rock 100. It's 100 miles in America. It's eight summits of over 3,500 meters, and 2 of them go to 4,200 meters. It's stunning. There's two main aid stations, and I think it would probably take me about 25 to 30 hours. It's not that I've always dreamed of doing a 100 miler, but this area is wild. It's beyond sort of like you're running on it thinking I'm not even on the track, and you're following the race course. So yeah, it's sort of a dream, and I think if I could do that one, then I'd be happy. Yeah.
Anna,
Yes.
the Thames Park, we do a 100-mile on the Thames Park, that gets pretty wild.
Imagine all those stinging nettles and the flies that go in your eyes, yeah.
For free, there's a 10 peaks on Saturday, 26 miles.
Right, okay. I'll keep that in mind, thank you.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Actually, I did have a question though, but
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, because I know you've written a little bit about it before, so I was a bit more intrigued to it, is you hear a lot of these elite runners when they have their different opinion in strengthening ideas as well, which I know for yourself, I know you focus a lot on things like core and lower back.
Yeah.
I'd be interested how that come about. Why did you think I need to do this as a runner? Was that advice, or was it just something you found out along the way? And what do you do actually? What is your conditioning?
Well, I started in triathlon before I got into my mountain running, and so the coach that I had for triathlon was big into core strength. You know, when you're swimming, obviously you're using it. When you're biking, when you're going through transition, but more importantly, when you're running. And when you're running and you get tired, your legs get tired. You know, they start flopping around, but your body automatically slumps. So if you can have good back muscles, good shoulder muscles, good chest muscles, everything here is good. Then when your legs are tired, you can say at least, okay, stand up tall and be strong. And that just opens up your lungs, it keeps your heart going, it's got your everything's strong in here. So I do a lot of core and back but exercises. It's not that I do like an hour a day, sometimes I just do 30 exercises by 4 in the morning. And it's an ongoing thing. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to do a week of great core strength and then leave it for a month, because it doesn't work like that. You don't have to have a six-pack to have good core, and there's thousands of things you can do these days. If you don't like just doing sit-ups, you can do the foam rollers. You can stand on one of them with one foot and wobble around, or you can use the Swiss balls, or you can use wobble cushions. You can do the what's it called, the T-Rex, is it, where you hold on to yeah. So there's like thousands and thousands of things that you can do now that are not as boring as just crunchies. So I think everyone should use it. And when I went into my first ultra, I was motivated to run, but I was like, my gosh, this is going to really, really hurt everything. So I just put my head into training, cross-training a lot. So I was biking, I was swimming, I was doing a lot of core strength. And at the end of the race, I was really, really glad I had done that, because, well, from about 2 hours, I was in agony. But especially last 2 hours, I was just saying to myself, you've got to hold your shoulders back and you've got to stand up tall, because I knew if I could do that, then my legs would follow. And I hated everyone when I finished, but I finished and I'm still standing. So I think it's a very important thing, especially when you start going into trail ultra and your ankles are wobbling and your body's just moving like this. You're using all those core. So definitely important.
Do you do much strength training?
You mean like weights and stuff? Yeah, I do. I try and do 1 to 2 sessions a week, and it's usually about an hour.
Is it mainly legs, or do you...
Depends if I've had a long run that day, because if I've had a long run, then my legs are not really happy to do deadlifts or squats. But I try and do sort of single-legged ones every day for the balance as well. And I'm using like wobble cushion on the front foot, and just wobble, so your front leg is wobbling. So you only need to do like 10 of them, and you're fatigued. But that just gives you the stability in your ankles and in the hips and in the core as well. Strength-wise with weights, I do a couple of classes just for something different, a different scene. I enjoy going to the gym just to see other people in a different environment, using other people's motivation, because it's, you know, when you're training 6-7 hours a day, sometimes it's hard to do that last hour of weights without that external motivation. So yeah, I think that's a good thing as well. You know, you see people like, we were talking about Ricky Lightfoot. Do you know him, the tall guy from the UK? He's solid. He's like that deep in his chest. He's a big guy, big muscles, and he's still running really quick. And he's just got that strength to power him through. So I don't think there's anything wrong with a good bit of power and strength.
Did you find that it helped your recovery? I mean, did you always do strength exercises, or?
I've always been chunky, muscly. and bulky, partly because of my lifestyle, because I'm happy to eat, and so I hold extra weight, I guess, and because I'm a bit of a camel, I store water and I store food, so I'm kind of good for an ultra runner, I guess. Yeah, all the way from when I was younger, I was doing rowing a lot, so I built a lot of muscles on my back. I was playing hockey for 15 years, so I was constantly lunging, and so I had big butts and big thighs from the hockey, and back muscles, arm muscles from that. So then with triathlon, so just because of the sports I've done, I've always, I guess, done bulky muscle. Yeah, work.
Do you cross train, as in a bit of swimming, cycling, hockey?
Yeah, a lot. I don't play hockey anymore because I probably break my shins and my knuckles. But I do a lot of cycling. I cycle every day. When I've got my bike, which is another great bike company that I have through Mule Bar. They've given me a lovely Saracen bike. If you ever find that company, they're wonderful. And so I've been cruising around on that, which has been fantastic. And I love to ride because it just gets your legs moving after a long run as well, and swimming as well.
And would you do some adventure racing? Is it something that would tempt you?
I started in adventure racing, so that was when Salomon and I was racing for Innovate initially as an adventure racer, and then when I came into Salomon we were still doing adventure racing, so the 5 days, mountain biking, kayaking, canoeing, everything. And then when the big recession hit, trail running boomed, and adventure racing stopped because it was so expensive, and that's when Salomon really developed, trail running really developed as a sport for, easy access and for everyone to do, because it was get a pair of shoes and off you go. So adventure racing is a huge passion of mine. I love it. At the moment though, I'm sort of sticking to this. I was just saying to Jimmy before, I think every time I see him I've got new scratches and cuts because I fall over all the time, so I try not to get on the bike on too much rough stuff.
And what about other, because you do trail running but mostly mountain running, I'd say. Would you be tempted doing sort of multi-day events like the Jungle Marathon, the Marathon des Sables, or?
I'm not so much of a fan of running for 6 days in a desert. It's never appealed to me, that one. I'm not going to run the Planet races just because I don't like their politics. But I love stage races, so I've been doing things like the Trans Rockies, and there's another race of 4 trails. If anyone ever has a chance to do a stage race, they're a fabulous holiday, absolutely fantastic. Obviously you're running, but you're camping every evening with hundreds of other people that are all doing the same thing, and people are not there to go out and break records, they're out there to enjoy company and the scenery, and so Trans Rockies is actually fantastic. There's Trans Alps as well, which is 8 days, that's a bit tougher. And but the 4 trails, it's absolutely wonderful as well. So yeah, they're great events. You're sort of doing 40k a day for 6 to 8 days. So, yeah.
And way before you got to run with all the top guys, when you first ever went out on the trails, did you just go out, I guess probably what you've been saying, for the adventure, or did you ever feel unsafe as a girl running out on the trails?
No. I only ever felt unsafe when people said to me, do you feel unsafe? And then I was like, no, should I feel unsafe? What's going on? But no, I've never felt unsafe. I've never been challenged. I've never been, I get lost all the time. But I like that. That's part of why I do it, because I like to feel like I'm in the unknown. Well, I am in the unknown because I'm lost. But I think, I guess with a little bit of awareness, you know where you're going. You obviously don't run down in Cape Town in the middle of the tin houses or the mobs. But usually when you're in the mountains, you're amongst mountain people or along trails in Chamonix or beautiful places where it would be a freak accident, I guess, if something bad happened. It is, I mean, when you're running in cities, I guess there's a lot more people, so the chances of bumping into someone not so kind is probably higher. So I would recommend, if it's at night time, if you're running somewhere slightly dodgy, that you find some friends to run with, you know. But I've been very, very lucky that I've never had a problem. Even on my travels, I've never had an issue. So yeah, it's very good. I do spend a lot of time training on my own, just because everyone else is working or I'm travelling. So I'm used to it now as well, and so maybe I'm a little bit turned off to the outside world when I'm running as well. Yeah.
Do you use music when you run on your own?
No, I don't. I've never been able to. I would like to, but I get distracted. I get distracted anyway, but with music I'm really, really terrible. I start trying to run to the beat and then I trip up. Disaster. Yeah. But I cure the world when I'm out running in my head, so I've got plenty to think about. Yeah.
When you started running, did you have anyone you looked up to through travelling or just adventure racing? Like that?
I've always been pretty naive in the running scene. I didn't know who anyone was. I didn't know what races were, and I was just purely doing it to see new things. And so when I'd meet people and they'd say, "Oh, you have to go and do this race," then I would just go and do it, and I wouldn't know who these people were. When I first met Anton Kopitschka, I had no idea who he was. He was on crutches because he'd broken his knee. If you don't know who he is, he's the half-naked runner from America that has long hair. Very, very good ultra runner for New Balance. And he was hobbling along on his crutches. We were at Leadville, and I was like, wow, this race is amazing. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And he's won it, who knows, and broken records and done all sorts of things. I'm like, would you ever do this one day? What do you think, And he's like, yeah, I think I'd do this one day. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then after, my friend said to me, do you know who you're just talking to? And I'm like, yeah, I think his name was Tony. And she was like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. So, it's just been I've been very lucky that I've been able to meet the idols, I guess, that people look up to, but without them being my idols, they've been my friends. So I've got a lot of motivation from all of them, and I still get very motivated from them all. And I think more my inspiration comes from my family, from my friends, the ones that believe in me. So because they believe in me, that inspires me to do what I want. I don't feel like I need to follow in footsteps, because I don't really know what footsteps I want to follow in. So it's more the friends and family and people that believe in me to do what I want to do that is my inspiration. Yeah.
Do you feel the pressure going into races now?
No, not going into races, because I still race because I love to race. So whatever happens in a race for me doesn't matter personally. One thing that I'm finding more that I don't like so much, it's not that I don't like so much, I get tired of it, is media pressure from it's their job. They want to know who's going to win. But that's always the question that we get: who's going to win? Who's going to win? Who's going to win? And it's something that it doesn't bother me who's going to win. Like, whoever wins, and it's great because they've had a good day and they've trained the hardest, and they're the winner. But often from the media side, it's always, are you going to win? Who's going to win? How close are you going to be? And so that pressure gets to me, and I often sort of walk the other way and say, ask me another question and then I'll come back. So yeah, I think that's the only pressure. That it's, for me, racing is just a tiny, tiny percent of what we do and why we do it. The 99% of it is the running with friends, is the competitiveness, and then the race is just that little extra thing that we do just for the challenge. So I don't put too much pressure on myself, and I'm not pressured by my sponsor Salomon or anyone to achieve anything particular. It's just we're expected, I guess, because
talking of pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure's on these guys now because we've got time for about two more questions really. So make them good. That's
Okay,
basically
pressure's on.
Where's the
There's one.
most favourite place you've ever raced?
My most favourite place in Nepal would be, by far, it was the people, the culture, the mountains. You know, you're at 5,000 metres and there's still a 3,000 metre mountain above you. So you feel like that big, and you feel that inside. And it's a huge reminder of how small we actually are and how not to take anything for granted, because you know, the people that are in Nepal have absolutely nothing and have a lot of love. So it's somewhere that can teach you a lot. So if you ever get the chance to go to Nepal, do it. It's amazing. Yeah.
It's kind of a media question.
Okay, I'll let you out.
Kind of a three.
Don't ask me, am I going to win?
No. At Transvolcania, you didn't run because you were injured.
Yeah.
Are you, first of all, are you fit now? Are you running this weekend in Chamonix? And going on from Transvolcania, how do you feel about running against Emily?
Okay.
That's a way to finish.
Finish on a good
Right. 3 questions about it. Right. Am I fit? No, I'm not fit. I'm not 100% fit. I'm putting myself probably at about 65 to 70% of where I'd like to be. I still have some niggles, as you can see. It's a beautiful makeup, and they actually, here we go again, they stock rock tape here. If you have a little ongoing injury or niggle, or you want support, or you want to recover after a race, or you have a bruise, rock tape is excellent for that. And that's all I'm going to say with that. I'm going to continue. So I'm not 100%, but I'm slowly getting there, and this is my aim for this year, is that I don't care what happens in races. I care that I'm healthy and that I'm pain-free. So that's my first and foremost goal for this year. So yes, I am racing Chamonix this weekend. I was planning on doing the 80k, but I'm not ready. So I'm going to do the vertical K on Friday, and then the marathon on Sunday. It's a stacked field. The girls are incredible, which will be great to be there with them, but I will not be competitive with them at all. So for this one, obviously Emily, I think she'll probably win, which is great.
It's looking pretty good.
Yeah. But for the longer distances, when we get into more the 80 kilometres, then we can become more competitive again. And you know, we're best as friends and we love each other to pieces. But when we're out racing, we'll race to the line. You know, we help each other along the way. We give each other food if we need it, or a drink, or you know, give each other a hurry up, get moving, let's go, let's keep chasing. But when it comes to it, you know, both of us want to get to that line first. So, and the thing is that it's incredible for us to have the Nurias, the Emilys, the Stevies, and all the high quality girls now, because we can race and compete, and that's awesome. Yeah.
Levels the playing field between the guys and the girls, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool, lovely. Great. Well, everyone's got a swag bag, so I think
Yes.
everyone can kind of come forward and grab a bag.
Yep.
We're also, just so everyone knows, we're already chat to a couple of guys. Once we kind of wrap up here, and you guys can always go ahead of us. Over the road, there are alarms over there. We're just going to go in and have a drink. I don't know who's going. I think there's a couple of people here, so anyone's welcome really. So you're more than welcome to come across. All right. So